Well, with that information, I mean, how do we protect ourselves online? Because it does seem like most of this fraud is happening because of online shopping. I imagine a lot of people are online shopping over the Christmas season and not paying attention to everything as they would during the year because it's very busy and hectic. What do we do in situations like this?
Well, I think the first thing, and this is obviously not just for Christmas, but the whole period, all the time, is protect your computer with internet security software. The second is make sure that not just the operating system, but all the applications you use are patched. Make sure that any updates you've got, you apply them, because that will reduce the possibility of there being a flaw or loophole in the unpatched code that can be used to download malware onto your computer. And then the third thing, I think, is to develop what I would call an online common sense. And it means, thinking of things like, if an offer looks too good to be true, probably it is, and be very, very wary about it. Don't just click on links in emails. If you want to go to a website, actually type the URL in yourself or go to your favorites or your bookmarks, because that's safer. If you click on a random link, actually what the link actually is may not be what gets displayed within an email, for example. If you're using online accounts, make sure you have a unique password for each account, because the problem is if one password becomes compromised, if one account becomes compromised, either because of something you've done or because the online provider gets hacked, then that password then becomes a key to unlock all of your online accounts. So it's those three things, protect yourself, apply security patches, and try and develop this secure mindset when looking to do things online.
Now, I'm interested in the updates you were speaking about. Do you find that people often leave the updates? Because I have to admit that I don't always do the updates myself because I'm a little lazy and they take so long. But
Sure.
Is that a common feeling about updates, or is it just me?
No, I think that happens a lot, actually. One of the things I think is that if people are in the middle of something, they're busy, then they tend to put it off. I was at a parent meeting at my son's school a few months ago, and the teacher who was running the meeting came in, hooked up her laptop, and up popped the message instantly to be dismissed because it had come up at an inconvenient time. Now that's okay to do that as long as you don't keep postponing it indefinitely, because if you do, you're then opening yourself up to attack. So, maybe at some point when you're not going to be busy on the computer, start it up and apply the update then when you're not in a rush to do something else.
Now, if you don't apply those updates, what happens? You mentioned that there are some loopholes that maybe cyber criminals can get through to. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, certainly. Well, software is written by humans, and humans make mistakes, or when they're designing code, they don't necessarily realize how that code could be abused. So it works for the purpose of the application. But what happens then is somebody comes along and exploits it. So they look through the code and they say, actually, we could use that code, which is meant to do action A. We could actually use it to do action B, which involves us being able to use that application to get our software onto the computer. So let's say it's your browser and there's a vulnerability or a loophole in the code of the browser. They could use that unpatched browser to install their code at the same time that you're, let's say, visiting a web page or doing a download. So by applying the patch, what effectively you're doing is applying the piece of code which the vendor has created to stop up that hole in the code.